This is the Silverback In-Ground Basketball Hoop, and it brings that real gym bounce and sound to a driveway in a way I did not think a home setup could. What stands out most to me is how predictable the glass feels. Bank shots, layups, and long rebounds behave exactly the way I expect. This is an in-ground hoop for people who care about a true court experience at home. I would call it a fit for players who actually practice, for families who want something that grows with kids, and for anyone who has been frustrated by shaky portable hoops or dull acrylic backboards. I take my practice seriously, but I still want something I can lower for younger players or a casual dunk session, and this checks those boxes without getting in the way. The design looks clean and purposeful. The backboard is tempered glass, about 60 inches wide, with a clear, minimal look that helps with aim and makes the whole setup feel like a real facility. The pole is a heavy steel two-piece design. I know a one-piece pole can be more rigid, but the two-piece here still feels stout. There is padding on the pole and along the bottom edge of the backboard. That padding is not just for looks. I have bumped into it on awkward layups, and it takes the sting out of those collisions. The rim is a professional-style breakaway rim. It gives when you dunk and snaps back, which keeps the backboard safe and keeps the rim from bending out of shape. The height adjustment is a simple crank on the back, and it moves from about 7.5 feet up to 10 feet. I can change the height with one hand, and it takes seconds, not minutes. There is also an anchor system at the base, which bolts into the concrete. That makes the whole thing feel planted, and it also means you can unbolt it if you ever move. My setup process was the part I worried about before I bought it. I am not a contractor. I do not own fancy tools. I took a Saturday, grabbed a friend, and started early. I dug the hole, mixed the concrete, set the anchor frame, and made sure it was level in every direction. The manual is clear and does not overcomplicate things. The most important step is patience. I let the concrete cure for 2 full days. After that, getting the pole onto the anchor was the heaviest lift. It is not complicated, it is just heavy. 2 people are mandatory, and 3 would make it even easier. Lining up the bolts and tightening everything down took a bit of time because I wanted it perfect. From opening the boxes to standing back and looking at a finished hoop, it was a half day of real work and then a couple of days of waiting for the concrete. If you are comfortable with basic tools and you measure twice, it is very doable. Day-to-day use is where it won me over. The crank for the height is smooth and consistent. I can drop it for younger players without any struggle, then bring it back to regulation height for my own shooting sessions. The backboard response is what makes me keep picking up the ball. Tempered glass has a crisp pop that acrylic just does not have. My bank shots bounce the way I expect. When a shot hits the rim and kicks off the glass, the ball does not die. It comes off with a predictable arc, which makes rebounding practice actually useful. The rim has a satisfying give when I dunk. I am not talking about hanging for long stretches, but I can finish strong and feel the springs do their work. When I pull on the rim, I do notice a small amount of movement in the pole. That is the trade-off of a two-piece system. It is not dramatic and it settles quickly. During normal shooting, I do not think about it. Stability was a big test for me. I wanted to know if wind, hard bricks, and rough play would rattle it. The anchor bolts are thick, and once they are tightened, the hoop feels locked in. After a storm with heavy gusts, the system did not shift. During pickup games with hard fouls and clumsy drives, the padding on the pole and on the backboard lip has taken real contact and held up. The padding has not peeled or cracked. The powder-coated steel has dealt with rain, sun, and winter salt without rust spots. I give the hardware a quick check every few months. I have tightened a bolt once. That is it. Maintenance has been essentially nothing. The net even survived a year before I decided to replace it just to freshen the look. Shooting performance is the heart of this thing. I run through a routine of form shooting, mid-range spots, free throws, and long shots. On plastic or acrylic backboards, I have gotten used to weird dead patches that throw me off. On this glass, the rebound is consistent from the corners to the top of the square. Free throws feel honest. If I miss long, I know it is on me, not on the setup. When I practice bank shots on either side, the ball comes off like a gym backboard. For layup drills, the glass gives me confidence to put the ball high and soft, especially when I am tired and relying on muscle memory. On days when I work on finishing through contact, the padding on the pole has saved my ribs more than once. I like to dunk, but I am not trying to shatter anything. The breakaway rim has taken a steady diet of moderate dunks without getting loose or crooked. It has that springy snap that protects the glass and still makes the ball react naturally on shots that clip the rim. After almost 2 years of regular use, the rim still sits straight, and the springs have not gotten squeaky. If you have ever used a cheap rim that leans after a week of dunks, this is not that. Real-world testing for me includes solo practice in the morning, neighborhood pickup games on weekends, and sessions with younger kids who are just learning. On a windy day, I was curious how the glass would behave. The system did not sway and my misses were my own. During a small pickup game with some big bodies, we had a few wild rebounds where players crashed into the pole. The padding took it, nobody got cut, and nothing shifted. When I lowered the hoop to around 8 feet for younger players, they lit up. They could actually see their shots go in and even try small dunks. After that, bringing it back to 10 feet was as simple as a few turns on the handle. One specific use case I keep coming back to is a focused solo workout. I set a timer for 45 minutes. I start with form shots close to the rim. Then I work around the arc with catch and shoot reps. I move to bank shots, then attack the paint for finishing drills where I deliberately hit the glass at different angles. I end with free throws. On this hoop, that routine makes sense because every bounce and every rim roll is honest. I have also used it for quick evening games. We played to 11 by 1s and 2s, a few rough fouls, a couple of dunks, and a handful of blocks slapped off the glass. The hoop stayed solid, and nobody worried about tipping or sliding because there is no water base to shift. When we wrapped, I cranked it down so the youngest player could get a few feel-good shots before dark. A few smart touches make the experience better. The anchor system deserves a call-out, not just because it is stable, but because it gives me peace of mind. If I move houses, I am not leaving the hoop behind forever. The tempered glass is another one. It cleans up easily. A quick wipe and it looks like new. The clear backboard also means I can see through to whatever is behind the hoop, which helps with depth and focus. The crank handle is light enough that kids can help adjust it under supervision. That is a small thing, but it turns the hoop into something the whole family can use without tools or ladders. I do have a couple of minor criticisms. The 2-piece pole has a small amount of movement on hard dunks or when someone hangs from the rim for a second. It is not alarming, and it stops quickly, but if you are expecting absolute zero shake, a 1-piece design would be stiffer. Installation is not a quick snap-together project. You need to dig, pour concrete, and wait. That is the nature of an in-ground system, but it is worth knowing what you are signing up for. Also, the whole setup is heavy. Plan on 2 people at minimum for the lift and alignment. Treat it like a serious home project and you will be fine. After living with this hoop through seasons, storms, and a lot of shots, I trust it. It looks clean in a driveway. It feels like a real court, and it makes practice more valuable because it removes guesswork. If you want a professional style feel at home, if you want an adjustable height that genuinely takes seconds to change, and if you want a system that can handle real use without constant tinkering, I would recommend it. If you need absolute rock-solid stiffness with zero movement even on hard hangs, or if you want to avoid concrete work entirely, you might look at a 1-piece system or a different style of hoop. For me, the balance of installation effort and long-term performance has been more than worth it. I keep coming back to this simple thought. A good hoop should disappear. It should not make you compensate or adjust your shot. It should just let you play. This one does that. I notice the glass when it gives me a clean bank. I notice the rim when I finish strong and it springs back. The rest of the time I am just playing, and that is exactly what I wanted. Please check the comments section for detailed information about the Silverback In-Ground Basketball Hoop. Thank you for watching.